School's out for the summer. Those words bring about feelings of freedom and fun for the kids, that is. But with routines disrupted and social circles scattered, that freedom can feel lonely and isolated. And in that quiet space, many young people turn to social media, seeking connection only to feel more alone and more isolated and judged by their peers. Our next guest wants to help. So Texas author Summer Nielsen, I should say, is here to take us into the pages of her book series, Good Morning. I'm very happy to talk to you about this.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to talk about this.
All right, so what motivated you to write this book series?
Well, this is very personal to me. And so the Ludor Tales series really started, I was on a walk with my then 10-year-old niece. And she, we were going through this walk, and she said to me that she no longer knew if she was enough. And she had never expressed
So she said those words?
Those exact words, "I'm not sure I'm enough." And she was always a very gregarious tween, and it stopped me in my tracks because that was such foreign language for her, and she had learned it on social media. And so that one day really changed the trajectory for my life. I decided then and there that I was going to use it as an opportunity to create a content platform and a book series to really instill self-worth and to reinforce confidence and kindness and empathy.
And you really did get into the trenches. I mean, you went to schools, you spoke to teens, you interacted with them, you still do.
I still do.
Tell me about that experience for you.
Well, it blows my mind, to be quite frank. And yes, it's one of those things where I've gone for years, I've gone through tours and speaking to General Assemblies at schools. And I really use these books as a launch pad to engage these students in real conversations. And the General Assemblies may include 250 students, it may include thousands of students. But the interesting thing is these teens and tweens, they really want to have these conversations about what's really happening in their lives with regard to social media and cyberbullying. They drive the discussions, and at the end of the conversation, and they always raise their hand in the Q&A, and they talk about the bullying. They talk about the constant chatter that they're hearing and the implications that it's having on their self-esteem and self-doubt.
And I think it's interesting that the catalyst for this was that your niece was telling you. And I think for some kids, no matter how great a parent you might be, a parent may have a difficult time even knowing that this is happening. Well, so what are some of the key takeaways that you would suggest parents be aware of that they may not be garnering from observing their own children?
I would say key takeaways from my experiences speaking to these kids and going to these schools is first and foremost that words matter, right? So in a world of social media and cyberbullying, the reality is you've got relentless critics, anonymous comments, constant chatter, and it's really affected and made us less accountable to the long-term effects of words. And the fact is that in the data and the statistics, we know the effect this is having on anxiety, on depression, and on suicide, right? You hear over and over again, suicide is the second leading cause of death among adolescents. And so we have to be accountable to words and the fact that they matter. We need to understand that teens are at this critical point where they're trying to understand who they are.
Right.
And while that's not new, what is new is that we didn't grow up in a world with social media. And so this is a very different landscape that they're navigating. And they want to feel less alone and less isolated, to your point, but they also want to feel safe. And that's really important because on any given day, they could end up in the background of a video unbeknownst to them.
Yes.
And that video can have lifelong
consequences.
Absolutely.
That's what is so terrifying to me, is the lifelong consequences, because once something is up online, it lives forever.
It is. It's part of your digital footprint.
It is.
And it can affect your college applications, your career,
it can
ambitions,
affect everything.
Every aspect of your life.
Yeah, and also your future relationships. Well,
certainly.
I do want to get to these books. Can you tell me a little bit about these particular books and how they help kids navigate some of those challenges they're experiencing?
Most definitely. And so the Ludor Tales series began in the land of the pines. It began there because I'm originally from East Texas in the piney woods.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wanted it to feel very much like a personal extension of me. But these books, really through layered character symbolism and deep-rooted storylines, You know, they bridge this conversation because the characters represent social media. They have experiences where they're suffering from self-doubt or from wondering who they are or wondering whatever those life lessons are. And so the series follows Gray the kitten on her journey to discover just that.
Right.
And so it's told through the eyes of animals to really enable us to address complex topics, but to do it through the eyes of animals and to really have fun in this fantasy world that is intended to educate kids.
I think that's fantastic. All right, so where can people find these books? I really do want to get some of these books and let my daughter read them.
Absolutely, you can find them on Amazon. And so all 3 books are available on Amazon. You're also seeing the classroom guide, and so this is something that's coming out in the fall. It's really based, I'm so proud of this, but it's based on years of conversation and research with students, families, teachers, and superintendents. This is something that we're going to be launching in schools, and it was really designed in tandem with curriculum experts to, you know, again, provide all of these lessons. And
it's also going to be a great tool for parents. I want to thank you so
Absolutely.
much again for being here.
Thank you.
Really important
Thank you.
topic. All right, thanks again.